Months, Burkina Faso will be holding general elections this coming Sunday. Several presidential candidates have availed themselves. However, there is a law barring any ministers in the transitional government to run for president, although some have stated this intent. To speak to us more about the elections is the project coordinator at Good Governance Africa, Richard Chelin. It's good to have you. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we know there was a coup at around about the 16th of September this year. What do these elections signify for Burkina Faso?
Well, if you go back to how it all began, why they have a national transitional government in place, it started last year when President Compaoré decided to run for a fifth term, decided to change the law. And then the people came out in strong numbers, demonstrated, and he was forced to resign. And then once that, there was a transitional government which was put in place by Michel Kafando, who was a former ambassador to the UN, took the lead as the president, was appointed as president of the interim government. And the mandate was for 1 year. After 1 year, they were going to hold general elections, which was meant to happen on October the 11th. However, on September the 16th, there was an attempted coup, or there was a coup where Michel Kafando was removed and Colonel Gilbert Diendéré took power, he seized power and he came there and he said he's taking over. However, the people once again protested, came together, protested against that, and it lasted a week, and then after a week, Diendéré stepped down and allowed Michel Kafando to go through again to continue, and now election is set for this coming Sunday, the 29th of November.
An exciting election it really is, because I think what signifies this particular election is that when you look at the voting populace, we're talking about 3/4 of a population that are under the age of 30. This is a young election. The youth are going to be determining the future of Burkina Faso. So I believe, we're talking Facebook, social media, megaphones, music, posters. This is what I've been reading about the elections and how they've been electioneering. Let's talk about the youth in Burkina Faso.
Yes, the youth have actually changed the face of I would say, the election and, the process. And it's nowadays, the question is, whoever can get the youth on their side, whichever candidate can have the youth on their side, go in there as a favorite to win the elections. And also, not only that, as it's been proven that since the youth hold a good range of power, what happens after the new president comes into power, it's how the president will deal with the youth will determine his future as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite an exciting time, and it also shows the maturity of the people of Burkina Faso, who actually stood up a couple of times and they said, no, we do not want any, dictatorship or coups and things like that. We want a democratically elected government, and that's what we're aiming for, democracy in Burkina Faso.
Well, which will be basically the first democratic handover of power in Burkina Faso, if this in fact does prove to be the point. What do ECOWAS make of these elections?
Well, ECOWAS they played quite a major role in the national transition government in the first place, and even in the recent coup, they were quite a strong force, and the AU came out and condemned the coup. ECOWAS was right there, mediating. Muhammadu Buhari was also one of the major players who came in and, managed to resolve the situation. Which ECOWAS has played quite a major role in that part of the region as well. It's quite a major, powerful bloc.
Yeah. Who are the front runners? Let's go there.
Okay, there's to begin with, there's about 14 candidates who are standing for presidency. But out of those 14, there are 3 who are in the major running. It's Christian Kaboré, who was a former PM, Prime Minister of during the regime of Compaoré's. During his time, but he resigned. He left the party a few months before Compaoré escaped the country. He formed his own party, the Movement for the People's Progress, and he seems to be in the running. In the pre-polls, he was about 20% favorite. And the second one is Diabré. Diabré was the leader of opposition during the time of Compaoré's regime, and he's in the second in the running. And then we have Shankar as well, who is also one of the members who just came up. Well, he's not related to the great Thomas Sankara, as we would know, just by name only.
Okay.
So these are the three main candidates in the running for this election, with Kabore has a slight edge over his competitors, I would say.
Yeah. So those are the ones to watch.
Yeah, those are the ones to watch.
And I mean, it's quite important because they've got a very, very big task at hand. I mean, Burkina Faso is not in the greatest position. It really isn't. I mean, when you look at some surveys that are done and you look at where the United Nations actually ranks Burkina Faso, it puts them 181 out of 187 in the United Nations Human Development Index. I mean, they've got a big task at hand to get that country on its feet again.
Definitely has a... Whoever comes into power has a major task. Firstly, it has to foster national unity, because from last year, have to deal with what happened with the attempted coup, what led to the coup, the national unity, and also economic as well, which has to work on the economic as well, to rebuild it and development, as you said. They rank quite low in the National Government Index as well.
Previous elections, and I suppose it's a very different scenario as we look at elections now. I mean, there's been voter turnout of like 30%. Is this going to be a completely different picture?
Well, from the sounds of it, it will be. As we mentioned in the beginning, you know, the youth, they have the majority of the youth who are willing participants as well, which was not the case in previous elections. And the youth also going to be a strong voice as well. So we're expecting there should be a good turnout, I would say, unlike previous elections.
I mean, when we look at the location of Burkina Faso, I mean, it's a landlocked country, and I imagine peace in that country holds a lot of importance to the rest of stability within the West Africa. I mean, we look at Mali, it's to the north of Mali, which is victims to terrorist attacks, and it's got Niger as well. So, I mean, talk to us about its position.
Yeah, it's quite in a situation position within the Western African region. You have Côte d'Ivoire as well. We remember what happened in Côte d'Ivoire, and as you mentioned, Mali as well. But I think Burkina Faso is in a position to set itself as, you know, this is what we need to do. Like coming from a dictator, you know, from somebody who's been in power for 27 years. Setting the way for a democratically elected government, and also showing that the people do have the power to change the way the government is. You know, like it is the people who are behind Compaoré resigning. It is the people who are behind the coup leaders to just decide to see the coup as a mistake, and the people have been the driving force behind it. And I think they do have a confidence that other nations can learn from.
In terms of, I suppose, a peaceful election going forward, is this something that is a great possibility, or I mean, is there a high alert for the 29th elections? Well,
elections, and especially in a situation where the coup just happened about 2 months or a month ago, there are security concerns. But the AU and ECOWAS as well have been putting quite a lot of effort to make it be a credible election as well, and also ensure the security of the people as well. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a tough call, but the people of Burkina Faso have shown great confidence and willingness for this process to go ahead.
Indeed. All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you very, very much for talking to us on the program. Talking about the Burkina Faso elections that are coming up. I mean, these are landmark elections that are happening in that country. First time, perhaps, ever in this Burkina Faso that there'll be a democratically elected government there. And we'll be watching very closely. This is happening on the 29th of November, so that's this weekend. And we've had the project coordinator at Good Governance Africa, Richard Chelin, talking to us about this. Thank you very, very much, Richard.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break here on the program. We're hoping to touch base with Vuyo Mvoko. He is in Uganda, as you know.